Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rinkus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 4-episode series with Megan Fletcher, the owner of Free Bird Healing based out of Waupaca, Wisconsin. Through her business, Megan specializes in supporting women, especially those who have experienced miscarriage, birth trauma, or fertility challenges, by teaching them how to listen to their intuition and how to heal through the somatic healing modality of breath work. Her journey into this work came through her own personal experiences of grief, loss, and ultimately a powerful return to self. Along the way, she discovered that true healing doesn't come solely from medical treatments, but through deep connection with the body and soul. Megan's passion is helping women feel safe, whole, and deeply connected to themselves and their future children. She truly believes that when women heal, they heal generations. When she's not holding space for the incredible women she works with, you'll find her grounding in nature, moving with the rhythms of life, and cherishing time with her husband and their children, her greatest teachers and inspirations. So take a deep breath right now, get settled in, and get ready to learn some wisdom from Megan.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Motherhood Alliance podcast. We're back here with Megan Fletcher from Free Bird Healing. We're so excited to talk to you again, Megan. We had a great conversation in the first episode, just really kind of going over what you do, what intuitive healing is, what somatic healing is. It was really enlightening. And if you guys haven't listened to that episode, definitely go back and listen to it. It was just fantastic. It gave a lot of really great just perspective in any kind of process, any kind of birth process that you might have. Let's talk about, in this episode, we're going to be talking more about miscarriage and birth trauma, which can be definitely a very sensitive topic, but it needs to be talked about. It does.
Absolutely.
I guess the first question I have for you is, why are you so passionate about supporting women after miscarriage and birth trauma?
Yeah, so like we talked about in the first episode, just my childhood was filled with experiences that needed that nurturing and that guidance. And so when I came into motherhood and had my first baby at 21 and had a really relatively good experience, I was like, oh, this is so easy. I don't know why people can't do this.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't seem that hard and I'm not that old. And then when I had my next one, we had a home birth and I was like, oh, this was really good. But I was very much like power. I can do this. Like everything is perfect, all the things. And then my next one was a NICU baby. He came at 33 weeks. We had a ton of things happening in our family and my brother had passed away. And energetically, my body was like, I can't keep this baby in any longer. And that was when I realized that this is about more than I can do this. And the energetics were at play. That was when I realized I can't keep this baby in. And so when I was in that situation, I could feel myself holding my child in. And until I surrendered to that, it would have gone to that next step. And so empowering moms to really be in their power through birth. And then through my miscarriage, also felt that same thing of I can hold this in or I can release it. I can let it go. I can let it be the lesson that it needs to be. Let it be the story. Let it be the feeling and feel all the feels and allow all of the things. And that's really where a lot of this work has come from, is my own experience from childhood on.
I love that you can speak from experience, that women who come to you really have a great understanding, or they can know that you're there for them.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
really speak to them. Mm-hmm. So when women go through with miscarriage and birth trauma, what what's the normal support that women get from these experiences? And do you think that kind of treatment is beneficial for them?
Yeah, so definitely I differ from a lot of that, just because from what I've heard and the stories that have been told, and then my own story coming in, is that a lot of times we're putting our power onto the other person. We're giving away our power. We're saying, fix me, heal me, I'm broken, I can't do this by myself. And so when we can be in our own power, and when we can know the steps that our body is going to take, if we can really feel into our body and allow it to release what needs to be released, so that we can embody what needs to come in. I just think that there's so much more to miscarriage and to birth trauma that we're not seeing, because it's a little bit below the surface. So we're seeing what the doctors and what the practitioners are telling us is going to be our experience, or can be our experience, or would be the best way for us to go about this experience. But we're not coming back home into our body, running it through our intuition, asking God for support. We're not doing that piece of it. We're saying, okay, I'll sign the papers.
Yeah, like just fix me.
Yep. Yeah. And so a lot of my work is just around that like sovereignty of motherhood and bringing in that personal power. And even when we're going through a grief, a trauma, whether that be a miscarriage or a birth that just did not go the way you wanted it to, we don't have to do that again. There is so many resources out there. And there's also just coming back home to yourself and saying, this isn't the path that I'm choosing.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some signs that trauma from miscarriage or birth is still being held in the body, even years or months or years later?
Yeah, this is a good one. So if we're retelling our story in the same way that it happened, when it happened, is always my biggest indicator that we haven't released the guilt, the fear, the shame, all of those big feelings around what happened. And we can be okay with what happened, or we can be not okay with what happened, but it's how we speak of it. It's how we talk about it. And if every time someone comes to you and says, oh, I might be having a miscarriage, you spiral into your miscarriage saga. And that isn't to shame anyone. It's just more of awareness. So gaining awareness around what words are coming out of your mouth, gaining awareness around what stories are rolling around in your head. Because if you're coming into another pregnancy and you have that fear of miscarriage, and you fear and fear and fear, that could be a catalyst for another miscarriage. And it might not be, right? There could be physical reasons, but on the energetic level, at least the level that I work on, I feel like if you know, you know. So if you feel called to this work and you're like, I think there's an energetic block, and maybe you don't have those same words, but you have this awareness of like, I don't think this is physical. I've done all of the physical, and we get to blend the two.
Yeah.
We get to blend the Western, and we get to use that as part of our process for getting our body prepped and ready. But there's also this energetic piece that we really need to hold on to and hold sacred.
Yeah, I would say too, just if somebody's listening to this, reflect on your birth story. How are you thinking about it? I love that you bring that up, because that's absolutely true. So what role does that shame, that kind of guilt that some people have, play into this kind of grief? How do you begin to release that?
Yeah, so I think, like we said in the previous episode, we talked about just doing the really simple things, connecting with your body, connecting with nature, getting outside, getting to water, whatever you're feeling like you need to have, not running to the coffee shop, right? Like that's a feeling that you're grasping at. Okay. What is the thing where you can just sit in peace? Where can you start to find some of that peacefulness just wash over you, that gratitude wash over you? And we talked earlier, like, do you see the birds? Can you hear the things? Are there flowers blooming? Like, what is bringing you peace in the now, not worrying about what's going to get me through the day or what's going to get me through the year?
Love that.
How do you know when the healing process is working for you? And so you talked about how a woman, if she's kind of retelling the story, what would you see that's different, that's showing her that she is making good progress, especially if she does want to get pregnant again and she wants to be able to release kind of that experience from her grasp, give it to the cross essentially. But so how do you know when you're making good progress and maybe you're ready for the next step of trying for another child or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's all that deep intuition. So you know you're ready because you know, right? And if those thoughts creep in, you get to say, that's not my experience anymore. That was a past experience. I love every step of my journey, like really getting home to the self-love aspect. And that's one that people are like, oh, self-love, and they roll their eyes, right? But truly, what is self-love? It's loving yourself and your body so much that anything that happened in the past and anything that's going to happen in the future, you are rooted in the now because you have that connection.
And I know you talk about coming home to the body. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. It's a feeling. Like if you guys could see me right now, I use my hands a lot and I use my body a lot. And when you just say the words, like if you could just close your eyes and breathe in and breathe out, and then just feel peace, feel coming home to the body. Like you can almost feel your body kind of settle in, your shoulders drop a little, your jaw kind of loosens. Like it's just that. It's just bringing the breath back into the body and coming home to.
I love that. It's so peaceful.
I assume you do have to practice this a little bit too.
Yeah,
it's not
a little
like
bit.
You can just maybe somebody can sit there and do that just fine. But it's just, I feel like for me, I just don't settle down enough. And that is a problem for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we live in a culture that is going, and there's baseball practice and softball practice and this, and the other thing, where can you find that time to pause? And that might just mean going outside after everybody's sleeping at night and putting your feet on the ground and breathing.
Breathing.
How do you know when someone needs support beyond this piece at home, whether it's working with you or even going to some sort of a talk therapy type program? Like some women are going to need extra support.
Absolutely.
So how do you know if somebody who's listening, how do they know if that's them? And then like, what would you recommend for kind of their plan of healing?
Yeah. So plan of healing is kind of funny because it's so not linear, right? It's more so what calls to you right here and right now. And I know in my experience, I have been with practitioners that I'm like, this is the person that's going to get me through the rest of my life. And then a couple months or a couple years later, I'm like, oh, I loved them for what they did. And my journey has kind of shifted. And I actually had a practitioner solidify this for me a couple of, like a year ago. And she said, you might not always come to me and that's okay. You might outgrow me. And I went, I could never outgrow you. Like that word just was so profound, but she was so rooted in what she did. And she was so just confident in her practice and in her practice growing. And she was okay with the people that come and go. They're meant to be. Some of us are meant to be with each other for a short amount of time, and some of us are meant to be with each other for a longer amount of time. And it doesn't matter if it's 1 minute to 1 month to 6 years to a lifetime. God puts these people in place for a reason. And so it's a big thing that if you're listening to me or another practitioner on the podcast, or a friend of yours says, oh my gosh, I met this woman and she was great. I think you should see her. If you feel drawn to it, that's your next step. That's your next move. And a lot of us as practitioners, we're not out to get your money. We're here to give a transformational experience, one that only you hold for you, within you. And it's more about being there for the client, seeing them in their transformation and allowing them to spread their wings. At least that's how my practice works. Is like, if you want to talk to me for that 30-minute consult call, we're calling it, and you never book with me, transformation happened in that call. You got what you needed and you now know your next step. And that's beautiful. And if you feel drawn to working with me longer, or you want to sit in sauna session with me, or you want to go for coffee, like there's different ways for that to manifest into your reality and to just be part of your journey. And that doesn't always mean you're sitting weekly.
There's probably people listening who have experienced miscarriage in the past, and maybe they're a couple years removed from it, but those feelings are very real, and I feel like this is so applicable to them.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
There are people going through miscarriage right now, which is really hard, but then there's also people who are watching friends go through it.
Yeah.
So for someone who's listening and has a family member or a friend going through it, what are some ways that they can support them?
I think just going for a walk. Like, again, let's bring that person back to their body and allow them to express. Because one of the best ways to get those feelings out is to be able to express, but also being careful that we're not feeding into their story, right? We're not saying, oh yeah, that happened to this person and this happened to this person and this happened to me. It's more listening and really being of service to that friend or family member and holding them in their grief, holding them in their fears, acknowledging them. The awareness alone, there's this word alchemy, and I think we brought it up in the last one, is like when you're with different people and when you're in conversation or you're taking a walk or you're grabbing a coffee, whatever it is, there's alchemy happening. There's bits and pieces of all of those conversations that are settling in the body. And so we don't always need a practitioner. Sometimes we just need a good friend.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's only like once in a while. It doesn't have to be an all the time thing.
Well, that makes me think about couples are going through this together.
Yeah.
And obviously a woman has a different experience than a man, but there's so much just depth of these emotions that are happening for both of them. And so as you're talking about the healing process through this, I just think about how amazing it would be for a couple to do this together, right?
Absolutely.
To do the breath work together, to do the healing together. Because I think, unfortunately, the guys are also left behind a lot of times. People who are aware that a miscarriage happened or, traumatic birth happened, there's trauma for the guy too, for witnessing
Absolutely.
some of these things. And he doesn't know how to help her and she doesn't know how to help him. So do you have any tips on how a couple can heal together?
Yeah, I think as always, just being with one another, right? And I have brought couples into the same space, and it's not, we're going to work on this. It's more so, let's open this up. So it's opening up the package and seeing, what are your thoughts and what are my thoughts and how is this affecting me? And sometimes just getting raw and vulnerable one time or two times can allow the masculine to soften and the feminine to be held. Because a lot of times all the woman wants is to be held.
Absolutely.
She just wants her partner to wrap his arms around her and just breathe, right? And so if we can create the space for that, I have a couple coming up that they want to plan their next baby. I think what's happening is maybe we've got some differences, and the gentleman actually came to me and was like, I just want to plan our next baby with you. And so we're doing it in sauna session. Like, it's not that we're going to lock eyes and hold hands and force it out of one another, right?
We're not being weird about this.
Right, which I have done that in therapy with my husband, but it's more about what kind of comfort do we both love that we can have that third party help to open us up, because the alchemy of that is going to be like, God is going to say, okay, we're here to do some work and we're going to move it. And sometimes it might not come out verbally, but the feelings are there. Like when you can feel your spouse sitting next to you and you can feel their hurt, and you're not going to take it on, but you're going to help transmute it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just love the way you just how you describe things. It just makes it like, you just have to pause and think through all of that. I just love it.
As we're rounding out this episode, I think the final question I want to ask here is, what do you want every woman who's experienced miscarriage or trauma to know?
I want them to know that they're not broken. There's nothing wrong with their body. And there's always a way to have the experience that you're wanting to have. It just might not look exactly like you want it to look, but our wants can sometimes interfere with God's plan.
Oh, yes.
You have shared so many amazing thoughts full of depth. And I think a lot of people are gaining some new perspective and hope for the future, right? Hope that they don't have to carry these burdens anymore. Now, can you share a little bit about where are you located? And then for supporting women or couples, do you do this all in person? Do you do virtual? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So as my name implies, I am a free bird. I have an office space in Waupaca that I utilize when people really want to be in session. I also am very, very open to like doing sessions at a sauna or a salt spa or things like that. I think just adding in that extra element of experience will sometimes just really pique people's interests because you're almost getting like a massage while you're getting the experience. I don't know. I love
That's
it.
super cool.
Yeah. Or walking at a park or walking on trails. Like some people need to move when they're working through these things. And I'm really open to having that chat, whether that's just via voice note or we actually talk on the phone and just saying like, what do you want out of a session? Because I'm not leading these sessions. Spirit's guiding these sessions and you get to be part of that co-creation. So that's a really exciting point. I also do virtual sessions. I really love it when my clients can come on virtually and then they can take the rest of their afternoon or the next couple of hours to really integrate. Because when we go into an office and then we leave the office and then we go grab lunch with a friend, we haven't integrated what work was just done, that transformation. So that process you can actually get tenfold healing after your session if you have a glass of tea or a cup of tea and just breathe or be on the couch or play with your puppies or, that kind of thing. So virtual, online, or in person.
Okay, good to know. And I do want to mention that Megan is offering $50 off any one-on-one life alignment session. So if you guys are interested in taking care of that, just mention that to her through DM or whatever, however you want to get in contact with her. Can you just remind us again, what are your social media handles or where can people find you?
Yep. So on Instagram, I am the Megan.thefreebird. And then Facebook, I actually use my personal page more than my business page. And so that is just Megan Fletcher. It is a public Facebook page, and you can also add me as a friend. I love that.
Okay, great. And we'll link to those in the show notes too, just so that those links are handy. We do have 2 more episodes coming up with Megan that we're really excited about. Episode 3 is going to be for everybody. Again, we're going to be talking about the sacred path to motherhood and how beautiful it is, but also, things like about the pressure women often feel to do more and to be more, and how can your energy and your intuition really guide you from the fertility through conception, through pregnancy, birth, and through postpartum and beyond. So really just diving into all of that is going to be applicable to everyone. And then in episode 4, we're going to be talking to wellness practitioners specifically and how you can use intuition to help your clients get even deeper, not only for yourself, but like helping them to bring it out within their space as well. So stay tuned for those episodes. They are coming up next. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.